First-time winners coming out of Daytona, but which win has the greatest of the two? The road course favorite will begin his chase for the streak all over again, and we have the new team owner and his driver going head-to-head. The Backseat Drivers will get you up to speed.
Welcome to another episode of Backseat Drivers. I am Alex Weaver here in Studio 3. Talk about a couple great weeks in Daytona. Florida sure has been fun. And speaking of fun, let's welcome in a familiar member of the Backseat crew, Coon, and a new face here on the show, Alan Cavanna. Hey, guys.
Howdy, howdy.
It's good to be here. 2 weeks in Daytona. Nice to be here on the show. Lots to talk about.
Yeah, started the season off with some first-time winners. So I want to pose the question to you guys. Alan, let's start with you. Which win was the best win? Michael McDowell in the Daytona 500 or Christopher Bell on the Daytona Road Course?
Oh, that's tough. There's nothing better than a first-time winner. I mean, it's the best interview out there. I got to go with the Daytona 500. Come on, Michael McDowell. Obviously, it's the Daytona 500, the biggest race in NASCAR. And what I really love is that this is coming toward, the end of his career. One of the biggest emotions from Michael McDowell is that he wasn't sure if he was ever going to get that win. Look, Christopher Bell, first win, that's great, but he has so much potential in front of him. Michael McDowell just wasn't sure, not in the best equipment, and he was able to do it when he had the chance. I'm going with Michael McDowell.
A strong week for Michael McDowell, coming off of a lot of emotions. KC, what you got?
I'm going to have to disagree. Yes, Michael McDowell's Daytona 500 win was big. In fact, it was huge, but looking at the competition side, I think Christopher Bell's win was much better in the sense he had to be way more technical. You just don't win on a road course. Now, super speedways, they are tough, but if you had laid out what Michael McDowell's first win is going to be, I would have probably guessed a super speedway. Now, if I had to guess what Christopher Bell's first win was going to be, no way I was putting a road course on that, and that's what makes the win so much better. He hunted Joey Logano down. He had to hit his marks perfectly in those last few laps, so I think Christopher Bell's win in the Daytona Road Course for sure is better than Michael McDowell's Daytona 500. It sounds weird to say that. I know it sounds weird to say it's better than the Daytona 500, but again, from a technical perspective, I think it's Bell.
Yeah, we might have had Bristol Dirt circled for Christopher Bell, not necessarily a road course. But now let's dig a little bit deeper. Kim, I'm going to start with you on this one. Would you rather it be your sophomore season and get a win on a road course, or be 14 years into the NASCAR Cup Series and win the Daytona 500?
That's tough too, because I do think winning early in your career kind of gets the monkey off your back, and it leads you to win more. It opens the door for you kind of not to have that pressure. But I got to go with McDowell's Daytona 500 win. Only because I don't know that we are going to remember necessarily a Daytona Road Course win, whereas you're in the history books when you're a Daytona 500 winner. So I think absolutely Daytona 500 win.
Alan, you going young gun or old guy?
I got to go young gun because, look, they say the waiting's the hardest part, right? Who wants to wait that long? No way Michael McDowell wanted to wait this long for career victory number one. Even if it is the Daytona 500, he always said, he could have won his second race as the Daytona 500. He didn't have to wait this long to get victory number one. Christopher Bell got a big monkey off his back in terms of the expectations that are on him, right? I mean, he had a tough year last year. We know he was over at LFR, not exactly Gibbs equipment. So that was just a ton of pressure this year. All of that's already gone. When are you going to win number one? He doesn't have to answer that question ever again. He's in the playoffs. Big deal. So I would rather win as early as possible just because I can always win another one later on.
Well, a fun fact for the history books, only 3 times in NASCAR history have we started the Cup Series season with 2 first-time winners. And the last 2 seasons, that would be 1949 and 1950, which if you're doing your math correctly, that's the first 2 seasons in NASCAR's existence, and pretty much everybody was a first-time winner because they hadn't been on track before. With 13 to go and a couple drops of rain, Kim, do you pit or do you stay out?
You absolutely have to pit. We saw not only in the Cup race but in the Truck and Xfinity races how important tires were on this course. And if you look at Bell, he pitted, he took tires, he restarted, I think, 12th. He was the first one in the lineup to restart with fresh tires, ends up winning the race. Yes, you had to get through traffic if you did pit, but I think pitting is the way to go.
All right, AC, put your crew chief hat on.
Well, look, this is an easy answer in hindsight, right? When you're holding the checkered flag, of course, whatever they did is the right answer.
Yeah.
But I don't think the 22 made a terrible decision because, look, without all those cautions, I know I'm saying without and buts and ifs and whats and all that stuff, but without a number of those cautions after they came in and got tires, Christopher Bell isn't there to get Joey Logano. If there's just one fewer caution or one fewer lap, the 22 had the track position. Track position is so important. at these road courses. So I don't think it was a terrible decision in hindsight. Obviously, you don't have the checkered flag. You're going to wonder for a long time if you made the right decision. But it wasn't this egregious mistake, I don't think, because the 22 had great track position, and it took a lot of dominoes falling for the 20 to even be in that position. So don't fret too much. But congratulations, Christopher Bell and Adam Stevens, most of all.
Yeah, I think Adam Stevens is pretty safe with his pick to stay out there. Well, one of the teams who chose to pit, the 9 of Chase Elliott, we saw the road course favorite have an incredible save once back on track, but ended up going into the dirt after a late pit stop and really just had a rough 10 laps there in the closing final laps. So whose fault was it? We saw Corey LaJoie, we saw Denny Hamlin, and then obviously the 9 of Chase Elliott. Alan, whose fault?
Yeah, there was a few incidents there. So the first one, at least, I'm going to go with Chase Elliott, blaming him on this one. Remember, this was the first time really all day he had been back in the pack at all, and it was go time. And we know the skills that he has and the talent that he has and what he has to do to get to the front, but some of that aggression and talent, that's going to pay off differently because you're going to find yourself in positions you don't want to be in, and you're going to find yourself around racers who are doing the exact same thing. Chase Elliott comes over that corner, pushes it too wide. It gets very narrow on that Daytona Road Course and goes a little off course. I don't think he's blaming anyone else because that was his fault. He was his time. He had to push it at that moment, and he made a great save. So I think all in all, he was fine.
You ready for the 9 fans to announce
their
presence?
Fault. Who else's fault was it? No one else did it.
All right, Kim, whose fault?
Well, first of all, I'm with Alan. Which incident, and that's just par for the course when you go to road courses, talking about multiple incidents. Chase Elliott missing that sign. That was perfection in terms of his driving. I don't know how he missed it. Some good TV time, though, for that sponsor. But if we're talking about the one that kind of got a bunch of cars mixed up, where we saw Brad Keselowski, Denny Hamlin, I think it's Denny's fault. Denny got a little bit into the rear of Chase Elliott, gave him a little push. Now, could Chase have reacted better? Possibly. He is a true road course racer, but I think he got a bump from Denny Hamlin.
Well, don't worry. Chase got a little payback to Corey LaJoie if you're blaming that incident for the cause of the 9's destruction. But a couple laps later, it didn't go well for the reigning Cup Series champ on those final laps. Chase will start the quest for Jeff Gordon's road course streak all over again. And guess what, guys? He has 6 more road courses for the 2021 season. So here we go. He can do it. I felt like we were already prepared by Fox for some craziness from the open of race day coverage. Remind me never to get in a rental car with Clint Bowyer or Jeff Gordon. Fox called it a tie, but Alan, who actually wins that race? Put Gordon and Bowyer in a rental car. Who you got?
Ooh, well, Jeff Gordon is the road course king, but Clint Bowyer's a little crazy, right? I mean, that's why Fox hired him. So when there's nothing on the line and it's not a real race car, I think we saw what Clint Bowyer would do in a rental car. He tweeted out a picture of himself just covered in oil because I guess Jeff Gordon's car caught on fire, just proving to you that Clint Bowyer will do whatever it takes to get the win, even set his competitor's car on fire. Jeff Gordon may have the finesse. Clint Bowyer's got the crazy, so I go with Clint Bowyer.
Kim, you getting in the car with Jeff Gordon?
Absolutely. Alan gave me the answer. Jeff Gordon is the king of road courses. He holds the record for most road course wins in the Cup Series. You have to pick Jeff Gordon if we're talking road course. Now, if it's a foot race, I'm going to Clint Bowyer.
Yeah, well, we have Phoenix to back up that data.
Yep.
Both got pretty lucky with all of that damage. They made it up into the booth in time. And we all know Jeff Gordon has had luck on the road courses, but a driver who has not as of late is Kyle Busch. This brings us to our fan debate question. We asked you guys to send in a question. What's up with the 18? Is he going to have a repeat of 2020? Kim?
I think it's not going to be a complete repeat, but we're not going to see the winning Kyle Busch that we are used to. Remember, he has a new crew chief. Yes, you can say, oh, but they kicked off the season with a Busch Clash win. Well, he kind of backed into that win. Remember what happened with Chase Elliott and Ryan Blaney? Kyle Busch just lucked out there. He's working with Ben Bayshore. They've got to be able to get their communication down. I know they've worked together on the Xfinity side, but I think there's going to be a little bit of growing pains for him, at least the first half of the season. So I think first half of 2021 might be a little bit of a repeat of 2020. Second half of the season, it is all good and going smooth for Kyle Busch.
Unfortunately, the Busch Clash does not pay points either. I know the 18 is wishing now that it did. Alan, what about you?
Well, look, Kyle Busch gets back to victory lane absolutely this year. And I mean, we talk about last year as if he didn't. He did get a win last year, but I think, yeah, just the one in Texas. But I think we see more of the old Kyle Busch, right? Because he's just too talented and too good to stay down for this long. A year like last year, it's just, I think, an anomaly in Kyle Busch land. I do worry about he has not finished, I don't think, in the top 30 on a road course in almost 2 years. And now we have 6 more road courses to go. They got to turn either that luck or the skills around to really maximize all what they can get at those tracks, because you don't want to dig yourself too big of a hole if you're Kyle Busch. But look, he is Kyle Busch. He does get multiple victories this year. You just can't keep him down for that long.
Yeah, and Joe Gibbs Racing does have a strong road course package when it comes to racing at these road courses, so we know the 18 has to turn it around at some point. Now for this next one, I just want a simple over and under for this. How many times, let's start with 15, how many times did Brad Keselowski run off the track during the Daytona Road Course? Alan?
I would hope it's a little bit under, but the only number that matters is where he finished, right? And that's a top 5. So however it takes to get there, look, it's entertaining, right? It was fun to watch. It was a crazy storyline to see just how many times he was off track. I hope it was less than 15, but what matters is where he finished, and he was smiling at the end of the day. Crazy.
Kim, how many times did you hear Keselowski's name mentioned?
He locked up tires. He missed the bus stop. He drove a terrible race, in my opinion. I honestly do not know how he ended up with a top 5. I think, honestly, it was the bad luck of the other drivers in the end that got Brad Keselowski that finish. He's not a great road course racer. He's still winless on road courses. I know that he's come up second a couple times at Watkins Glen. I'm kind of overlooking that when I say this. But I'm going to go over 15. It seemed like every other moment Brad was off the course.
All right, all 3 of us can agree and say over. It was a lot. Well, already this season has looked bright for NASCAR's future. A ton of young talent showing they have arrived in the NASCAR garage. But which team is the best of the young? Hendrick Motorsports or Joe Gibbs Racing? And I'm allowing you guys to throw in their Xfinity programs as well over at Junior Motorsports and also at Joe Gibbs Racing. So Kim, let's start with you.
I have to go Hendrick Motorsports, especially if we're also adding in JRM, those young drivers. You just look at the average age of
like
the Cup
24.
drivers. At Hendrick, I know, it's crazy. You've got Chase Elliott, William Byron, Alex Bowman, Kyle Larson in the mix. And those guys alone, just by themselves, have such talent. I think it's hard to argue against Hendrick and all of the young talent that we're going to see for years and years and years to come.
It is hard, let me tell you, to pick against Hendrick. But look, they're in the now, right? I'm looking toward the future, 10, 15 years from now. Think about what JGR, and more importantly, Toyota, and the development program that they have going right now. On the Cup side, Christopher Bell just got win 1. What doors does that open for him this year? That freeing feeling of already being in the playoff. Maybe he gets a few wins this year. Then you go down to the Xfinity side, Harrison Burton, Brandon Jones. I mean, so much potential there, and they're young. They're so young as they climb in the next few years. And let's not forget maybe the brightest spot in terms of prospects the next 10, 15, 25 years, a little driver named Ty Gibbs, who just went out and won his first race ever in an Xfinity Series car. Can't even race all the tracks yet because he's not old enough, and yet he's already winning in the series. The future is bright over at Gibbs if they run with young Ty Gibbs. It's just a matter of Toyota keeping drivers in Toyotas. That's the biggest issue.
Man, AC, if we're going another 50 years, I'm going to need Christopher Bell's skincare routine because right. He looks like he is still in middle school. Well, that leads me to my feel-good story of this past weekend. It has to be Coach Joe Gibbs. Heck of a weekend for him. Talk about having your grandson win in a series debut and then your young driver get his first ever Cup Series win. Looks like Coach is right on track, no pun intended. Kim, you agree?
I absolutely agree, and it was so heartfelt to see his post-race interview after his grandson won. It's not often we see Coach Gibbs speechless, and honestly, that's what he was when they were talking to him after Ty took the checkered flag. He really didn't know what to say, and I think he probably was just as surprised as Ty, but future is bright for them, and Coach Gibbs is a champion, and he's going to continue to be a champion.
Alan, you
Yeah,
want to be a Gibbs? I want to be a part of the Gibbs family this weekend.
adopt me.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's a new generation of winning. I mean, how long has Joe Gibbs been doing this? I mean, literally decades, right? Super Bowl championships, Daytona 500s, Cup championships, and now he has a 17-year-old grandson who's on the verge of what looks like could be a great career. You know, he's 1 for 1. So, yeah, feel-good story. It just gets better over there at Gibbs, and we know what the Gibbs family has been through, and just to see this new chapter of it is just really, really bright. And look, they've got a lineup in the Cup Series that can absolutely win championships and win now, and they're building for a future to keep going for decades on. It's just another good story.
Well, from a familiar organization with Joe Gibbs Racing to a brand new one in the NASCAR Cup Series, 2311 Racing has arrived on the scene with Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin pairing up and naming Bubba Wallace as their driver. But don't think the competitive spirit between Bubba and Denny has let up these days. Take a look. Better chance of making the playoffs, Bubba Wallace or the Charlotte Hornets?
Bubba Wallace.
Good answer.
Although I like where the Hornets are going. I do.
Who has more Jordans, you or Denny?
Oh, I'm sure Denny does, for sure. For sure.
Are you adding to the collection?
I am. I've actually added a lot, especially some golf shoes as well. So I've gotten the Jordan golf shoes too. So I'm widening out my horizon there.
Who has more pair of Jordans, you or Bubba?
Me by a mile. I get one of every Jordan that they make. So for me, it's more of clearing out the closet of stuff because I'm just flat out of room.
Who's the better golfer, you, MJ, or Denny?
Oh, MJ and Denny combined way better than me. Like, I don't even. I need to go play. It's been almost 2 months since I've played, and I text MJ saying I got some new clubs, and all he said was, "Good luck." So, shows how competitive he is.
Who is the better golfer, you, Michael Jordan, or Bubba?
Definitely not Bubba, but me and Jordan. I mean, we used to play even. I mean, he owns a golf course now. He plays a lot of golf. I'm the workhorse on this daggone team, so he probably's got to give me a few strokes now. So I'd say Jordan with a slight edge.
I'll never forget, once we announced our deal, I was getting texts from fans or family and friends and a bunch of unknown numbers, and an unknown number popped up and it was like, "Hey, you ready to do this?" And at the bottom it said MJ. I'm like, "Oh, that's pretty cool."
Well, Bubba has showed some speed early this season, and we all know that it's so hard to win in the NASCAR Cup Series. So, Alan, I'm going to start with you. Does 2311 Racing get a win in 2021?
If you asked me before Daytona, I would have said no way. It's just too hard for a new team to come in, new situation. That's just too much expectation. But what I saw in Daytona, I mean, we saw speed and we saw Bubba have the ability to lead the pack and stay up there with the other Joe Gibbs Racing Toyotas, really be a cohesive unit, if you will. So I think he can absolutely get a victory at a Talladega or the next Daytona race. So I think he wins one of those races because they showed me so much during Speed Weeks. 2311 Racing gets a win on a super speedway.
Kim?
Oh, as much as I want to see 2311 in victory lane, I don't think they're going to get it in their first season. But to Bubba's credit and that entire team, we have seen some strength out of the gate. To Alan's point, we saw them leading in the Daytona 500. He almost won his duel. And then even in the closing laps of the road course, he was flirting with the top 10, ultimately finished 26th. But I think there's just too much learning for Bubba to do in this first season with 2311 Racing. I had interviewed him after his duel, and despite a second place finish, he was distraught. He was upset with himself. This is the best equipment he's ever been in. So it really is him being a sponge this year and just learning how to make moves with the powerhouse team that is put behind him. So I think this year, learning season, sophomore season though, expect Bubba Wallace in victory lane.
Well, Kim, you also talked to Denny Hamlin. He's a co-owner of that team. He showed out so much in 2020. Is being a co-owner of another team going to hurt the number 11?
Absolutely not. If anything, I think this increases his drive. He talked about how he's able to compartmentalize things in his life. He likes to stay busy, so I don't think that 2311 becomes a distraction. In fact, I think it makes him a better, stronger driver, and I think I know we say this every year. This might be Denny's year to win a championship.
Alan, hurt in the 11?
Well, look, after 2 races and him being the point leader, there's no way I can say that it's being a distraction to Denny, being an owner and a driver. What I do wonder is if 2311 and Bubba, if they struggle, the next few weeks, if they're in a big points hole or they're crashing or what have you, if the struggles begin, does it then become a distraction? That's my only question, and we'll monitor that going forward. I can already tell you, every time we interview Denny, over a Zoom press conference or what have you, some of the questions are about being an owner, right? And some of them are about being a driver. So those worlds will mix, and if one of them is not doing as well, and those are the questions, and he has to start, wondering about the criticism and what's going on over at 2311 Racing, that's when I wonder if it becomes a distraction. But as the point leader after 2 weeks in Daytona, clearly not affecting him right now. I just wonder about the performance going forward.
Well, we heard them talk about their golf game. Alan, how's your golf game?
Not good.
All right, well, we won't throw you into that debate. Let's turn the page to this upcoming weekend. NASCAR is staying in the state of Florida, but heading further south to Homestead Miami Speedway, and we asked a driver who's pretty good when it comes to running down there in South Beach what it takes to win.
Hey Backseat Drivers, it's Tyler Reddick here. Homestead, for me, is all about running the fence and getting right up next to the wall. The secret, well, it's not really a secret, it's pretty well known, but the closer you can get to the fence, it just is adding side force and down force onto the back of the car and the spoiler, which in turn helps add grip to the car and allows you to, get the power down better. At Homestead, it's no secret, there's a lot of tire fall off, and as that goes away, anything you do to add downforce, side force to your car and make your straightaways longer is going to add to speed. Now, the thing is, with running the fence, it's free speed, right? But in these Cup cars, we got flared right sides, and they're stamped steel. So when you hit the wall in these Cup cars, the body doesn't flex back like it does on the Xfinity cars with the composite bodies. So the risk versus reward is very, very high, and not to mention, running the fence by yourself is challenging enough, right? But once you get in traffic, especially with these Cup cars and all the downforce that's on them, in traffic, you lose it. And so it becomes very challenging to not stuff it in the fence, even in traffic. So hopefully we bring down a winning Chevy, number 8, Cheddar Scratch Kitchen Chevrolet to Homestead. Because if we do, on Monday night, you'll get a free number 8 special on the house if we get it done. So, and if you don't know what the number 8 special is, it's their chicken tenders platter. So if we get it done, we win, it's yours Monday night. Thanks, guys.
Well, Tyler Reddick is so good at running the wall down there. He's had success in the Xfinity Series. Christopher Bell got his first Cup win last weekend. So can Tyler Reddick continue the streak and get it done at Homestead this Sunday? Kim?
I love history, and I want to say, yes, we'll see a third first-time winner in the 2021 season, but I don't think it's going to happen. Yes, Tyler is great at Homestead. Last year, we saw him start 24th, made his way all the way to a 4th place finish. He's got multiple wins in the Xfinity, but you can't count out the field. And we've got Larson back in the field. We also have Denny Hamlin, a 3-time winner at Homestead. So I've got my eyes on other drivers this weekend.
Alan, give me some good news for T-Red.
I don't know. She set you up, Tyler, and then said, but, right? I mean, she added that in. Look, can Tyler win? Of course. Do I think he wins? Would I make the bet on him to win? No, because you have to show me you can do it first, right? I will change my answer once you get that checkered flag. You can run the wall. Tyler Reddick is one of the best at that. He's so entertaining. It's so much fun to watch him. But until he shows me, until RCR shows me that they're, reliably have the speed to win at a 1.5-mile track like Homestead, I'm not going to pick him for a win. I just can't quite yet. And I would love to be proven wrong. Do what you can, Tyler. Make the race entertaining for us.
And running the wall in the Cup Series cars is very different than the Xfinity composite body cars.
Yeah, you definitely can't get any damage in those Cup Series cars. But I'm going to throw it out that T-Red wins because I just want to continue the streak of a first-time winner. So tweet at them if you get mad about that. The start of the season, I asked for it every year. Kim knows what's coming. Alan, you get guest honors. Let's hear those championship 4 picks. 2 weeks in, no big deal.
2 weeks in. This is so tough. I think Joey Logano has improved. He was commiserating last night. He led, or going to the white flag in the first 2 weeks, he has led the race and got 0 checkered flags. But I think that's a sign of improvement. So I'm going with Logano. Chase Elliott will be there again. Kevin Harvick and Martin Truex Jr. because I think he can win that Martinsville race that gets him into to the Phoenix. So that's how I base a lot of my picks. Who wins in that final round? So Logano, Chase, Truex, and Harvick make the final four.
Yeah, I don't think Harvick's going to count himself out of that championship four for the second year in a row. Kim, who you got?
Well, strangely, very similar to Alan, and we did not discuss this beforehand. No. I love this segment because it's a great way to embarrass ourselves.
At the end of the year?
Back at it at the end of the season, especially last year. Last year was an interesting championship four, to say the least. But I've got Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, Martin Truex Jr., and Joey Logano.
Ooh.
So 3 of the same ones as Alan.
Pretty close. All right, Homestead, Miami Speedway. We heard it here. We're racing there on Sunday. Let's get your winning pick for Homestead. Kim, we'll start with you on this one.
I think Denny Hamlin is going home with a boat this weekend. I said it before, he's a 3-time winner at Homestead. He's the top of the points right now, and I think that just strives to make him even more hungry for a race win. Again, you can't count out Kyle Larson, but I think the number 11 car is celebrating in victory lane.
All right, Alan, Fantasy Guru, let's hear it.
Ooh, this is tough. This is tough. I will double the 11 and go with the 22. 22,
Ooh.
Joey Logano has been so close that he has to get a victory eventually, right? I mean, there was some weakness there last year with Team Penske on these mile-and-a-half tracks, with this package and everything. I'm just, maybe I'm being, a bit too optimistic, but I think they turned some stuff around. Joey Logano gets the victory that has eluded him in the first 2 weeks.
Well, I wish I could break my own rules and pick 2 because I really want Tyler Reddick to get that first Cup Series win and just make the history books. But you guys forgot one of the best to ever do it when it comes to running the wall at Homestead. I'm going with the 5 of Kyle Larson. Nice. I'm thinking Hendrick Driver is going to be the first one in victory lane for that camp. Well, the Backseat Drivers have a NASCAR Fantasy League. Play along with us on NASCAR.com/fantasy. Search for the Backseat Drivers League or simply type in the link you see below on your screen. You're playing for bragging rights and your chance to be mentioned right here on the show. We have a leader after 2 weeks, way ahead of me. I'm down there in 11th. Don't look at that. Just scroll right on past my name. And this is usually around the time that I start getting frustrated. Kim, Alan. Alan, let's start with you on this one. How's your fantasy game?
Oh, it was awful. I think I tweeted out 74% of us played Chase Elliott at the road course, right? Wasted one of his starts because he just did not get the finish that you want out of your 10 Chase Elliott starts. So that was no good. I just had a terrible week on the road course. So I should be an expert, but I told everyone to start Chris Buescher, and I didn't start Chris Buescher, and then he had an 11th place finish. It would have helped me a lot. I'm very mad at myself.
Yeah, only 6% had Christopher Bell, so I don't know if all of us did well either. Kim, what about you?
No, terrible.
Yeah.
I'm in that group, which I think is a large group that completely busted their fantasy this past weekend. Hopefully, though, can redeem ourselves at Homestead.
Well, lock it in. Alan and Kim, thanks so much for joining us on this episode of Backseat Drivers. Make sure to follow along all season long and tune in to the 3rd NASCAR Cup Series race of the season. We're racing at Homestead Miami Speedway Sunday at 3 p.m. Fox will have the coverage, and you'll know right where to find us right back here next week. Thanks, guys.